Hello and welcome to video 2 of the Introduction to NVivo12. In this video, we're going to learn how to create a new document within NVivo, how to import sources, create nodes, and how to code data. So I'm going to go back to our NVivo project. And now data can include documents, videos, audio files, pictures, spreadsheets, and other data sources that you wish to analyze. At its highest level, data sources are divided into two main types, internals and externals. Internals are any sorts of data sources that are actually being copied within the project, and externals are not being copied into but referenced. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create a document within NVivo. For doing this, you'll need to copy and then paste text directly into a new document in NVivo. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the Create option, and then there's a document. If you click on there, we can go ahead and give it a name. I'll go ahead and call this test. And now what we can do is I can then go ahead and I can copy information from another file and paste it directly into there, such as the worksheet on how to use NVivo. Now, this is an option, but in most research situations, you'll want to import an already formatted document. So it's actually kind of rare that you would create a new one. What we can do next is we're going to show you how to import sources. So what I do then is under Files, there's our test one because we haven't really put where it's supposed to be. If I wanted to, I can go ahead and move this to maybe another location. So I'm kind of putting it back into a certain bin within the project. What I'm going to do is going to go to Files, and there's also file classifications and externals within this data option. So files are imported pieces of data that will be stored directly within an NVivo project. When you import it, it creates a copy of that to hold within the entire project. If you're using an external, these are pieces of data that stay in the original location. For example, if you work with large video files, your project will become quickly too big if you import all of them. So this is kind of a way around that. There's also some different file classifications here too. We have some different images. So what we can do then is we can also import files. So what I'm going to do is we're going to click on Import from the top menu, and then we're going to select the types of information here that we want to import. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on Files, and I'm actually going to import an image I have of Carteret County. You can provide information. We know that's a picture. And so now if we double click on it, it's actually imported the picture. The nice thing is if we wanted to then go ahead and highlight a certain area, we can actually code an image, which is really nice. And we can tell where we want it to go. You can also drag and drop too. So next we're going to talk about nodes. Nodes represent your coding scheme. When you are coding a piece of text, you are essentially putting it into a node. So you want to start out by selecting Node under the Codes options. These are all the different nodes we already have because it's a pre-existing one. If you wanted to create a new node, what we could do then is click on the Create tab on the ribbon, and then you should see this blue circle that says Node. Click on it. In this dialog, we can go ahead and give it a name. And then description. And then click on OK. So now we have a new parent node. We can also create a hierarchy. So you can have a parent node, Underneath that are different child nodes. You can also code child up to the top one, or you can have it essentially just be a bin where all these are below it. It depends on your coding structure. Alternatively, you can also click into this option here, into that white space, and click on New Node, and it will do the same exact thing. Now, there are many ways to put text into nodes in NVivo. The best way to do this will be dependent on your project, how many nodes you will have, whether you are coding one node at a time versus all at once, etc. This depends on your project. Here there are 3 important options to know about. We can highlight, so I'm going to go into, let's go into interviews, and we're going to find, let's see, let's go ahead and pull up Barbara's interview. And I'm going to scroll down to question 4. What we can do now is we can go ahead, and here's Barbara's talking about the biggest change that she's seen in the county. We can go ahead and select or highlight this. Then you're going to right click if you're using Windows, and we can go ahead and click on Code. You'll pull up this box, and then we can go ahead and then select which one we want this to code to. Like, let's say we wanted this to be community change. You can click on OK. If you're doing more of an emerging theme framework, you can go ahead and click on New Node and create it as you code. What we can also do is we can highlight this, and then at the bottom, and that will come up every 15 or so minutes, so it's always good because it'll ask you to save often. There's also an option here because you can do multiple things here. You can say, okay, I want to code this in nodes, and I'm going to go ahead and code this in community change. And then we can code it. Oops. And actually that should just be at nodes. Community change in the nodes here, and we'll go ahead and we'll code it. So now it says it's been coded at community change. What you can also do is if you have the nodes here, we can also highlight it and then go ahead and drag it and code it. All those are equivalent. We can also view the codes by using under this, clicking on coding stripes under documents. We can choose most recent code or all of them. So we can actually see within this entire document what things were coded where. If we want to check to see what we most recently did, we're going to go ahead and click on recently coded. And we have our community change that we just coded there. And that looks good. Let's say we wanted to uncode this. We go highlight and then click on this to uncode it. And that takes away that coding option. Great. So let's say we're coding question 1. So we can actually start going ahead and start coding things. And then let's say as you continue to read references to tourist, you notice another important theme. Let's say that you'd want to then go ahead and create a node for that. So we can go ahead and let's say that it's cheaper. let's say we want to code inside of tourists, we want to talk about restaurants and food. We can go ahead and highlight it, right click, and we're going to go ahead and we can click on code, create a new node. Now we went ahead, we have a new one called food. We maybe want to be a little bit more specific, but now we've coded that to it. We can also add descriptions. Great. So we're going to conclude this video here, and we're going to pick up running different queries. Thank you, and see you in the next video.